Hello and great morning. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning. Well, it's sort of beautiful. It's dreary, but it's not that cold and it ain't raining yet. It's also deer week, so if you're around this area, stay out of the woods unless you're wearing really bright colors, because you never know. Anyhow, Rumble on the River coming up just over 2 weeks. Get your tickets in the link below. They are going, well, not as fast as I would like, but fast. Get them before they're gone. We do have a very limited amount, and the proceeds go to benefit the Dunnville Firefighters Association. Also, thank you, everybody who has been, thank you if you've been liking and subscribing and sharing and commenting. I really appreciate it. It does a lot to get the message out there, and it does a lot. It means a lot to me. I know a lot of people listen and don't interact. It lets me know that what I'm doing is valuable and getting out there. So I really appreciate you helping me out with that. You know, it's crazy. Sometimes we have, well, not sometimes. We always have what's called the curse of knowledge. And the curse of knowledge is something that it creates a blind spot in the way that we see the world. And when we have a blind spot, it's very difficult for us to see it from where we're standing. And it takes somebody else's perspective in order to help us see it. Now, that being said, I have, this huge blind spot personally on how much information I have that I can share. I tend to think of it too broadly when you really need to break things down bit by bit for it to be consumable for someone at a less advanced stage in that learning. I'll give you an example. I was working with the company in the last few days. Big news coming. But I've been working with the company the last few days. And I said, you know what, let's take advantage of something here that you don't have and I won't have for long. And I'll never have again. And that is a brand new customer's perspective. Walk me through the process of walking through the door. And we did that yesterday. And we started immediately just to see some core efficiencies that can be put in place in order to help the process. Well, it's really interesting to see that from a brand new customer's perspective. But when you look at it from the business owner's perspective, the business owner is so entrenched in all of the information that they have that every time you try to get a broad stroke, you get so many details, when detail is not what a new person can consume. They just can't. It's too much too fast. So that being said, I have a blind spot in my ability to communicate with people. Not that I can't do it. I'm quite adept at it. But sometimes I forget the things I've learned along the way. And then I want to talk too broadly about subjects instead of breaking them down into little pieces so that they're consumable. The other problem is their challenge. Challenge is a much more apt word. The other challenge is that I get tired of hearing myself say the same things. However, you don't see all of my videos. You see some of them, but you don't see all of them. And if you don't see all of them, well, then you probably missed a message along the way. So I could probably repeat it 1 or 2 times or 1,000, and it's going to hit the audience that it hits. And if you've heard it before, well, I doubt you'll hate me for it, but these are things that you have to get over when you're doing stuff like this. I'm oversharing, I know. Anyhow, one of the blind spots is breaking these things down into small consumable chunks. So today I want to talk about how to deal with a difference of opinion. Conflict is conflict resolution has become a whole buzzword in the office space, and it's all about, people spend thousands of dollars to get their employees trained on conflict resolution, when it really comes down to a few simple principles. And if you practice these principles yourself, then you're able to influence others with them. And I'm going to give you one really simple one right now. And this is a very cool technique that I was taught. I'm trying to remember George Zalicki is where I first heard this one. Feel, felt, found. It's a very old sales technique. And most people who've been sold over the last 20, 30 years on something, if they've sat down with a good salesperson, at some point have had this technique used. And a lot of people are more savvy nowadays, so they understand that this technique is being used and you can't really use it the way that it was originally designed. However, that doesn't mean we can't modernize it, right? So I'm a little jacked up. I've had a third coffee, which doesn't happen every day. And I've been to the gym trying to organize my thoughts. When it comes to a difference of opinion, you have to understand that a person convinced against their will is still of the same opinion. You cannot get somebody to believe what you believe if they don't convince themselves. So one of the ways to do it is to use the trick, feel, felt, found. Now, a lot of people are going, oh, I've heard that one, whenever you say things like that. But feel, felt, found is actually a really great technique. I don't know why I'm generalizing today so much, but this is something you can use in your interactions. The challenge arises when you use the words feel, felt, found. Don't use those words. But here's how it works, and I'll show you a more modern or more eloquently worded version of it. So feel, felt, found is simply, it's obeying the laws of physics, but when it comes to linguistics and speech. Here's how it works. You can't meet force with force. An immovable object meeting an unstoppable force is always going to cause chaos. But when somebody's opinion is different from yours and you need them to open up and see that blind spot that they have, then you can use this, the feel, felt, found. So somebody has an opposing opinion. You don't want to meet force with force. You want to step back and, hey, you know what? I understand why you feel that way. In fact, I felt the same way. But with some more information, here's what I found. I'll do it again. I understand why you feel that way. I felt the same way myself. But with some more information, here's what I found. Now, you cannot say that to most people because if they know the technique and they're going to call you on it, and there's nothing worse than using a technique and somebody calls you on it. Believe me, it's like when the Wizard of Oz gets the curtain pulled back. It's like, oh, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Well, you've lost all of your credibility with this person if they see that you're using a technique. So you have to be a little more careful. But let's talk about why it works first, and then we'll talk about how to modernize it. Why it works is because you're not meeting force with force. You're going, yeah, you know what? I totally understand why you feel that way. I feel that way too. I get it. You're validating somebody's opinion. You're validating their emotions, and most people are making decisions based on emotions, and we can always justify later on with logic, and that's a whole different day. But I understand why you feel that way. You're acknowledging their emotions. You're acknowledging their mental state, and people need to feel validated in that. And then you're coming on their side and saying, hey, you know what? I felt that way too. I'm on your side. And now I'm introducing a new idea from the same side of the table as opposed to the opposite side. They feel validated. They feel like I'm like them, and people like people that are like them. That's another day too. And now they're possibly open to seeing another side of this. That perspective change. If you want to know what I mean by perspective, hold your finger up way out in front of you and put it on a dot. Focus on one point. And then close one eye. And then close the other eye. You're going to find that your finger is actually on one particular spot with one of your eyes, because one of your eyes is going to be dominant. For me, it's my left eye. My left eye is dominant, which is weird because I'm right-handed. It makes it awful when I'm shooting. I actually have to close my eye, which you're not supposed to do. Supposedly, I'm supposed to shoot the other way, but not at this stage. I'm too old to be trying to learn shoot from the left. Anyhow, that's a whole other deal. When somebody feels like they're validated and there's somebody that's like them showing them information, they're more likely to view that information in a favorable light. They're seeing it from a slightly different perspective because they're given the opportunity to feel validated from where they're standing. You can't just say, no, you're wrong. Say, no. Hey, I get it. Been there. And you know what? When I went out and looked at it from this perspective, my view changed. I used the same technique, but I modernized it. I used different language. Hey, I get it. I feel you. I was looking at it that way too. I felt that way. And then here's what I found. I got more information. I talked to more people. and I see it from a different point of view now. Feel, felt, found. So I hope that helps you in your daily interactions today. It's a cool one, but you just, again, don't use the words feel, felt, found, because people know that trick. They will see through it. But if you use different words, hey, I get it. Been there myself. But after talking to people and gathering more information, I saw it from a different side. It's much better than say, hey, no, you're wrong. At least it gives you an opportunity to get on the same side as them and possibly introduce another idea. That's it for me today. Get your tickets to Rumble on the River, November 22nd, just over 2 weeks from now. You can get the link below, or if you see a poster around town, the QR codes, it's the only place you can get them. But message me and I'll send you the link if I have to. Anyhow, that's it for me today. Have a fantastic day. Until tomorrow, know that I love you, and I'll see you soon.